And that brings us to another Reflections with Mark and Shannon. We can see if we can get Mark and Shannon back on the screens. Are you all there?
We're here. Oh my gosh, awesome. Are we here?
We're here. We are strong. We are confident.
We are confident. The Zoom crew, we can do anything. I'm gonna share the screen, but I'm gonna, Shannon, would you mind kind of kicking us off? You've been the inspiration behind this particular focus, Ripples.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. So let me make sure I can see what you're sharing. So I can see it.
Oh, yep. And here and share.
There. I'd say what a kickoff of 3 speakers to bring us out of lunch. I just think in the chat, somebody had said with the box activity, even though we weren't able to fully participate with boxes on our own heads, we had some people with the different masks and things in Zoom and trying to kind of create our own version of it. But it was certainly fun to see a room full of people with boxes on their heads, even from afar. So really appreciate getting to interact with that. And just keeping the energy alive post lunch sometimes can be difficult. So just appreciate being able to feel that energy coming from the space in Austin. But yeah, so we're going to jump through and talk a bit about this concept of ripple effect. And so this was something that, as Mark and I were planning some of these debrief sessions, we were just talking about the different kinds of impact and what can happen when we think of impact, what comes up. And ripple effects was one that came to mind for me, is this idea of that kind of classic image of a drop of water and sort of the ripples that come from, the impact of that drop onto the water surrounding it. And so we wanted to use this as an opportunity to have everyone share, like, what impacts were these last 3 speakers on you? What impacts existed for you there? For those in Mural, jump in and just kind of drop some of those initial impacts in the middle of the circle, and then think about what are the ripple effects of those impacts on you, on others, and how they all can start to relate and kind of build onto each other. So we'll pause there, Mark. Happy to have you kind of share some more thoughts too, but give it a chance for people to drop in. And if those people in the room too have some thoughts and impacts, we're happy to add those as stickies into the mural for you if you aren't able to join in Mural in person, but want to, think about what are the impacts, immediate impacts of listening to these talks and some of the takeaways, and then how those might turn into the ripples that happen, today, tomorrow, next week, next month, from the things that we're learning and the ways that we're connecting today.
Yeah, absolutely. I just I wanted to share a little bit about what might be missing there in the room is some fantastic, authentic responses, and some of them quite humorous. Like some people, saying, "Be right back. I'm signing up for eHarmony," after after Corey's amazing share. But again, the conversation that's blending the real-time synthesis has been so impactful. We even had someone holding down the shouting on our end. Most of us were muted, shouting to our significant others and family in our space, but we're following along here. I just wanted to I'll zoom in right here as people are adding, and just see, Douglas, are there any observations from there in the room? Those were just 3 amazing speakers back to back.
I'm looking for hands. Kaleem.
So the box, Mr. Clark. Yes, like lean on me, Mr. Clark. Something though, for me though, about the box, probably a little bit opposite of what a lot of people are feeling, but for some reason, I felt like we were all the same, right? I felt like I could do some silly shit and no one would know it's me. So it was kind of like, it was a really cool superpower. So I don't know if you want to try to throw some of that in there, but like, especially I grew up in Maine, for some of you that don't know, so it's the whitest state in the country. Sometimes being the same is super, super helpful. When you're looking around, we all have boxes on our heads. So it was really cool. Thank you.
Was there a hand? All right, we got another one.
All right.
Hi, I'm Liberty. I took notes on Jimbo's talk because I was so just invigorated by just the demonstration that you did and the energy that came off of it. So I just thought that you did such an incredible job of integrating all of the things we've heard today and really having that interaction. It's one of the first times I've seen interaction go so well in a space like this. So I feel really jazzed about how I can incorporate that. But just connecting the dots that we've all been seeing and, and then it was built on by Corey and Matthew. And so thank you for inspiring us. This has been an incredible time. And I really appreciate all the effort that went into that box activity and getting us all to interact. So really appreciate that.
Awesome.
We'll open it up to anyone here from Zoom that wants to share impacts or thoughts, feedback, questions.
I think we got another one in the room here.
Okay.
For me, when Matthew said to change how we talk to our children about what success means, and instead of telling them what success means, asking them what it means to them, that hit so hard home for me, because I think a lot of us, I know in my group, a lot of us said that we thought success is trying to make our parents happy and doing what we think our parents want us to do. And so much of our life is built inauthentically because we're trying to make other people proud of us and other people happy. And I think that's the biggest sin of life, is abandoning our own truth to make others happy. So thank you, Matthew.
It's such a great share. And I think such a great element to bring up too is, the power of changing the way that we talk to our children about what success is, right? Is about asking and just thinking about, and again, back to this ripple effect, is like, what are the effects that then has on how they imagine success, how they talk to others about it, right? So that just the ripple effects of those things, and they have impact on us, just even reframing those things, but also the impact of changing the way that we do something can have for a long time and on people.
That that resonates so much with the talks that we've heard today that are about getting your own kind of mental house in order. In the way that you deal with, a momentary conflict or a big disruption in life, but that being selfish and taking the time to actually, give yourself the space to deal with that, you're also demonstrating that behavior to everyone around you and making that possible, whether you realize it or not. And certainly presenting options. So many things have been said today that that hit each of us in different times in different ways, but something that wasn't even in our imagination, suddenly we're made present of that, like changing the way we talk to our kids, something we weren't really thinking about, or thinking about how we got to this space today and how things are going to go and what's in it. And then suddenly we elevate our consciousness around these things and realize the impact that we all have throughout our day, even in moments you don't notice, ways you manifest frustration or not, or deal with adversity in the line at Starbucks or something. These are all ways in which you're getting yourself in order and then making other ways of being possible for other people.
So true. And I think about that, especially as facilitators, how the ripple effects of choices that we make and how we're showing up, right? How we're caring for ourselves and how we show up in those spaces. And when we're facilitating, to your point too, is, but also it made me think when you were saying that too, is how the ways that we talk to our participants, or when we choose to, add a thought or add a comment here or there, right? Just how that can also change the way that they're thinking about something, or how they might move through an activity or move through a learning experience that, even something that seems maybe small can also sort of have these ongoing effects from them in good ways and in bad, right? Like, I think there's always kind of the positive side of that too.
Yeah. Well, once again, we created a space. I think we were trying to be organized coming in and have it all planned and mapped out. But we created a space and it's been filled in incredible ways.
Yeah. And it looks like Alexis has her hand up. So I want to give her
yeah, please.
here. So
yeah, I just wanted to share. Thank you so much. These last 3 sessions were wonderful. Something that really stood out to me was the vulnerability that started off with Jimbo's talk. And he said, if I have to see through to you, I have to let myself out. And even just opening the eye was so powerful. And I think that just started to ripple from his talk down to Corey's talk, and then the vulnerability of that conversation onto kind of this curiosity in the last conversation. I thought just the way that everything flowed also really hit me. So I thought it was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alexis.
So I was joking with my table and saying that I didn't know that we were going to have a therapy session today. But I appreciate the last 3 speakers, because Jimbo, you created a moment wherever you're right in front of me of sameness. So I appreciate that. Corey, lived experience through abuse, had to gather, still trying to gather those experiences and those feelings and what it means. Matthew, we have a shared experience as well. And one, I realized that I'm down the street from this man. He lives in Winston-Salem, I live in Greensboro. So thank you for making that connection. And then 2, you helped me realize that my experience, similar to yours in elementary school, sorry y'all, is a double-edged sword, because without it, I wouldn't be sitting right here.
Thank you.